Most remodeling contractors using AI sound like they hired a college intern. Well, it's not because AI doesn't work, but it's because it hasn't been trained to understand their business. You see, the issue isn't the tool, it's the input. Generic AI produces generic results because it doesn't understand your customer, your market, or your sales process. It doesn't recognize the difference between someone casually browsing kitchen ideas and someone dealing with water damage behind their cabinets. It doesn't know that luxury remodel means one thing in Omaha and something completely different in Orange County. And if your AI sounds generic, it's because your inputs are generic. Most contractors blame the tool. The real problem is the system behind it. Remodeling isn't a generic business. Your customers speak a specific language. They follow predictable patterns. They make decisions differently than almost any other industry. Custom GPT training closes that gap. It teaches AI how your market actually works, how your customers think, what they mean when they ask questions, and how to respond in a way that moves them forward. The result isn't just better content, it's communication that sounds like it came from someone who actually understands the work. So let's dive into our topic here and help you improve your GPT. So here's why generic AI falls short for remodeling marketing. Because generic AI treats every business the same, and let's be honest, remodeling isn't the same. Most AI tools are trained on broad, surface level information. Ask them about bathroom remodeling, and you'll get content that sounds technically correct, but it's disconnected from reality, and that's the problem. Remodeling customers don't behave like typical service buyers. They aren't reacting to urgency, they're evaluating risk. They're thinking through disruption, cost, trust, and long-term value before they ever reach out to you. A kitchen remodel isn't a transaction, it's a process, and it's very personal. It's taking place in their home, a place that they live, a place where they entertain friends and family, a place that is filled with memories and special moments. Generic AI doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand the emotional attachment that homeowner has. It also doesn't understand language. When a homeowner says we're thinking about updating, that could mean replacing fixtures or tearing the entire space down to the studs. An experienced contractor knows to clarify immediately. Generic AI doesn't. It treats everything the same because it doesn't know any better. And local market differences make this worse. Pricing expectations, material standards, and buyer behavior vary dramatically by region. And without training, AI will produce content that feels disconnected from your actual market. And if it doesn't reflect your market, it doesn't build trust. And that's where most contractors get stuck. They use powerful tools and then feed them generic input and end up with output that sounds like everyone else. And so you need to understand that AI is reshaping contractor marketing, but you also need to understand how to work with it to make it sound and operate just like you do. And so this is where the custom GPT training process comes in for you as a contractor. Because the custom GPT training starts with one thing: your data. Not tools, not prompts, but your data. And what matters isn't how advanced the AI is. What matters is what you teach it. So start with your real customer interactions, your emails, your consultations, your project notes, anything that reflects how your customers think and how you respond. That's where the real value is. For example, a remodeling company in Phoenix reviewed 2 years of customer communication and found clear patterns in how serious buyers talked about timelines, budgets, and expectations. And that data became the foundation for training. Then document your sales process. What questions are coming up repeatedly? What objections slow things down? What explanations move things forward? If you don't define this, AI can't replicate it. What project case studies are another critical layer that you can feed into your AI? Not just the before and after photos, but the full story. What problem did the client have? And how did you approach it? What changed during the process and how did it turn out? That's how AI learns how you think, not just what you do. Then testing comes next. You don't train everything at once. You start with one area, one service, or one scenario and evaluate output against real conversations. If the AI suggests something you wouldn't say, the training is not complete. And this isn't a one-time setup, it's refinement. Every gap between what the AI produces and what you expect gets corrected with better data. And over time, the system improves not because the tool changed, but because the inputs did. And you need to train AI on your remodeling specialties because different projects require different communication. If your AI is treating them the same, it's not trained properly. Kitchen remodeling isn't about cabinets, it's about how people live. Customers are thinking about their daily routines, their family dynamics, and how the space supports their lifestyle. And that's what your messaging needs to reflect. Bathroom remodeling is different. It's more private, more functional, less about entertaining and more about comfort, accessibility, and routine. Exterior work introduces urgency and seasonality. A roof leak is not the same conversation as a planned siding upgrade. One requires an immediate response, the other requires education and timing. Your AI needs to understand those differences. It also needs to recognize positioning. Luxury projects follow different patterns than budget-conscious updates. Communication style, expectations, and decision-making processes all change based on price point. And if your system doesn't recognize that early, it misaligns the entire conversation. Seasonality also matters. Spring demand looks different than fall. Deck projects, exterior work, and interior renovations all follow different cycles. Training data needs to reflect that. The goal isn't to make AI smarter, it's to make it more specific. Specificity is also what separates generic marketing activity from a real strategy. And that is why this connects directly to home remodeling marketing strategy for contractors. Now let's talk about how to implement a custom GPT into your marketing operations. Content creation is obviously where this is going to show up first, because once trained, AI can produce content that reflects your actual expertise. Not generic summaries, but blog posts, service pages, social content that becomes more aligned with how you actually communicate. A remodeling company in Tampa reduced content production time by more than half while improving their engagement. Not because they produced more, but because what they produced was more relevant. Lead nurture is the next step. Remodeling decisions are going to take time, and generic follow-up doesn't work. But trained AI can build sequences that match how prospects move, providing information at the right stage without forcing the conversation. Customer communication comes after that. And when handled correctly, AI can respond to initial inquiries, manage scheduling, and provide updates while maintaining your tone and process. but implementation matters. So start where mistakes have low impact. Prove consistency and then expand. Trying to automate everything at once creates problems. Building it in stages will create control. Now, you always want to measure return on investment. And you want to do that also from your custom AI implementation. So the first return you're going to see is time. The second is better output. The third is improved conversion. While most contractors are focusing on volume, let me tell you, that's actually the wrong metric. If you're not measuring conversion, you're measuring the wrong thing. So track time spent on content and communication. Track engagement metrics on your AI-assisted content. Track conversion rates through your pipeline. Track whether response quality improves without adding staff. A remodeling company in Seattle reduced response time significantly without losing quality. That allowed them to handle more opportunities without adding staff. That's actual leverage. Content quality will show up in engagement. Better alignment will lead to more time on page, higher response rates, and stronger interactions. And conversion is your real indicator. If messaging improves, conversion improves. If it doesn't, the system needs refinement. You see, this isn't about replacing people, it's about removing inefficiency. Now, one of the things that AI is going to allow you to do is build predictable marketing systems. Because the goal isn't better content, it's a better system. And with properly trained AI, your messaging becomes consistent across every touch point. Across your website, your email, your social, and your follow-up, because everything is aligned. And that consistency builds trust. Not because every piece of content is perfect, but because everything feels connected. And consistency will beat creativity time and time again. Systems beat effort, and that's what most contractors are missing, is a system. Without a system, growth depends on how much you can personally manage. And with a system, growth becomes predictable, scalable, and controlled. So if you need help getting your systems in place, reach out to us at Remodeling Marketing Team. We would love to schedule your remodeling growth audit with you. You can do that at remodelingmarketingteam.com/get started. That's get-started. Or you can call us at 888-350-7859. As always, thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to talking with you on the next episode.